And I think we are live. Hello everyone and welcome back to the GT Sport League here at Gavra Racing. You join us for round number 3 and this one should be a special one indeed. As stated previously, this is the third round in the championship and we're at Monza, but as you can see by the minimap in the top right hand corner of the screen, there is no chicane. We completely ignore turn 1 and 2 and we go straight over into Curva Grande, a complete flat out right-hander, which is going to be absolutely incredible to see these cars in the race. If you're familiar with this championship, you know the format. We have a new car each week, and this week it is the F1500T-A. To simplify it, these are late 80s F1 cars, as you can see. Old F1 cars that can reach up to about 230 miles per hour. Well, need I say more for this race? We've got 13 drivers on the grid. Unfortunately, Websons couldn't make it tonight, but let's go through a few of the championship standings whilst we are in the early phases of qualifying. Hello everyone joining us in the chat. So after the first 2 rounds, but after the first 3 races, watch last week's race if you missed it for the back-to-back races we had at Lago Maggiore. But is Duchy, who has won every single race so far this season. He is leading the championship by 15 points. And that may not seem like a lot, but when you can only gain 5 points for winning a race and the driver in second, it all adds up towards the end of the season. He doesn't need that 15 points. He leads by 31 points. That is in constructors, my apologies. He leads Finn in second by 31 points. Finn and Chicane actually equal on points on 46. 2 points behind is Tiger, who's 3 points ahead of Tim in 5th. Those are your top 5. In terms of constructors, it is Ducci and Piero leading by 15 points and 105. Tiger and Chicane on 90. Tim and Topster in 3rd place on 60 points. So it's still fairly close up front, and that is the Scout down, who's had quite a big crash at the exit of the second Lesmo. Let's get a replay to see what happened to the Brit early on in qualifying on his second flying lap. Going through with a second Lesmo now, and onto the AstroTurf, dips a small wheel onto the gravel, and that's what sent his car round. These cars have got a lot of torque, and it is pretty easy to lose the rear in these cars. But it is currently the return, Manuel making his return to the league, putting it on provisional pole early on in the session. The 1 minute 21.4 is the provisional pole time. Chicane improving, going up into second place, a 10th and a half behind him, with Finn's Manuel's teammate Finn in 3rd place. So it's been a good start for the Austrian, going around the final corner now. Can he extend his advantage and move further up the grid? Currently 6/10 off his personal best. Your championship leader currently in 6th place. Ducci's won the first 3 races of the season, first 2 rounds I should say. He currently sits 6,000 behind him in 5th place. He's 500th behind Bonivel, who's 100th behind Finn, who's 100th behind Chicane. It doesn't get any closer than that, my friends. This league is just so close, so competitive. You just don't know who's going to win each week. We've got new cars, different tracks. It just makes it impossible to tell who's going to come out on top. Hello and welcome everyone tuning in. We've got an exciting race for all you ladies and gentlemen watching at home, wherever you are in the world. It could even be good morning. Certainly for me, it is more towards good evening or good night. It's currently 12 minutes past 8 o'clock in the UK as we get this qualifying session well underway. 12 and a half minutes left to go of the usual 18-minute qualifying. You've got your Season 1 champion going round the final corner. 4 seasons later, can he put it on provisional pole position here at Monza? No, he can't. He's 1.2 seconds off the pace of his personal best, and we'll be looking to go for it once again. What about Piero, though? Puts it on provisional pole position. It's a 1 minute 21.3, goes 800ths clear of Manuel behind. A little bit of traffic occurring through the final section as Manuel going around the final corner. He won't be improving. He's backed off his time, nor will Finn. Ducci's into the pits. What about Aston F1? He's almost all kind of in the 2 minute lap time, so he won't be improving. I haven't actually checked to see if my audio is working, so I'm just going to quickly... It is a little bit quiet, so let me just turn the volume up as Tops has actually gone to provisional pole. Apologies about this. Let me just get my microphone volume up. There we go. So, apologies about the delay. I noticed a little bit quiet on stream. So, 800 separating the advantage out in front. If we could look down, wow, look at that, 3/10, 1 second, well, 9/10 separating the top 9, 4/10 separating the top 8. When have you ever seen it closer than that? Absolutely incredible. Dutchy comes out of the pits. If we ride on board with him, you can see there is no turn 1 and 2 chicane as you'd usually see. You go straight on in towards the new turn 1, which is Curva Grande. I saw Piero going purple early on in the lap. Does he extend his advantage out on top? But actually, does he put it on pole position? He now puts it on pole position by 300ths of a second. It's a 21.2. Jumps ahead of Topster, who's going down the back straight in towards Parabolica. What about Manuel, though, the Austrian, on his return to the league after missing out the first 2 races of the season? Does he get ahead of Piero? Yes, he does, by 4/10 of a second. And it doesn't look like he's had a massive tow unless he trade positions with Finn on this lap. 2 teammates being reunited with each other as the Scout Dan goes up into 12th place, just ahead of Ted MC, who's yet to score a point from the first 2 rounds of the championship. We've got a new points system formatted for this season, the final season on this game, before we venture over to the new GT7. Vague_288 in the chat. Welcome, how are you doing? I'm doing fine, my friend. How are you doing on this fine Friday evening? The gap's so minimal between a lot of the drivers, majority of them within a 10th and a half of each other. Two Saint coming around the final corner as Bon Evil goes onto the front row of the grid, actually decides to dive it into the pit, but the gap out in front, 2/10 of a second with a 21 flat, puts Bon Evil in third, but Piero gets himself up into second place, 2/10 off of Manuel into the 1 minute 20s. Only 2 drivers in the 1 minute 20s so far. Tim Action improving, going up into 5th place. Let's try and find someone who's approaching the line. Can't find anyone at the minute, but it looks like both of them are going into the pits. It was Topster going up to the line, does improve by the smallest of margins, and maintains 4th position. Scout Dan also improving. Does he gain a position? Not quite. Only closes the gap to his teammate in front, who then extends the gap immediately, and but maintains a 5th position. I think that was Tiger Assassin coming out of the pits in 9th place. Him and Toussaint currently 2nd place in the Constructors' Championship, as those 2 undefeated in the team standings since we introduced it for Season 2. But it is Piero and Play Dutchy who lead the way in Constructors. However, in the Championship, on track today, Play Dutchy finds himself all the way down in 8th place. Now this is the different, I can't quite think of the right word, but this is what makes this season, or what's going to make this season so interesting, is some drivers may not be able to adapt to the different cars. They might prefer one car's style of driving. Let's see if Dutchy's purple. He's not. He's 4/10 down through the first sector, which is completely flat out, so it's all dependent on the slipstream and the exit through the final corner. Doesn't look like Dutchy's going to be improving on this lap, and he's currently down in 8th place. Your championship leader might find himself in a spot of bother, but there is still 7 minutes left to go in qualifying. Plenty of time for him to improve. Scout Dan running in 12th place. Can he move up a little bit higher? Yeah, yes, he can in terms of lap time, but in terms of positions, he maintains 12th place, 300ths off his teammate, and sets a 1 minute 22.7. A few drivers going around the final corner. It is Finn and Manuel, the 2 teammates giving each other a tow. One's on an out lap, and I think one is about to start their flying lap, or both of them are about to start flying laps. Finn about to start what's going to be a competitive lap time. This will be a good indication to see the speeds with and without slipstream. Look at Finn reaching 233.45 miles per hour. Manuel 10 miles per hour slower. There's the position change. Finn down the inside, and he has now been set free to try and go for pole position. He set the fastest first sector of anyone, and there's 200ths up on his time. Let's keep an eye on this lap from the German. Currently 2nd place, or joint 2nd in the championship. He's only in 2nd because of that second place finish he got at Lago Maggiore, finishing higher than Chicane, but both drivers level on points, so it's still all to play for the second place in the standings. It's still all to play for everywhere else technically. That's just the closest gap we've got on track. I was just checking my audio, apologies if you heard an echo. Double checking it is still a-okay, but we've only got one corner to go on this qualifying lap. Tiger Assassin improves, but only maintains 9th position. What can Finn do though around the final corner? I think that was Manuel going slightly wide through Parabolica. I'm not too sure. Could have been the camera angle. Can he put his car on the front row of the grid? Yes, he can, by 7/10 of a second. He's almost in the 1 minute 19s, and it's a 1 minute 20 flat. 7/10 clear of his teammate. That slipstream toe definitely gave him such a big advantage going into turn 1. Who can challenge the front two? Bonnie can't going into the pits. Let's try and find someone coming around the final corner. It's Wolfie 907, your Group B champion from last season. He's 2 seconds off the pace. We've got Piero on an outlap. I'm trying to see who the cars are going into turn 1. I think it could be Chicane. It is Chicane. Someone's off at the first Lesmo, but we're going to keep an eye on the Brit as he comes around the final corner up to the line. Does he improve? No, he doesn't. He's less than half a tenth off his personal best. There's Finn getting out the way. Piero starting his flying lap. Duchy still only in 8th place. He's got a nice toe from Wolfie in front, although he is on an outlap, so he won't be setting a quicker lap time. What about I think that's Ted behind. He's on an outlap as well. Manuel, I think, has backed off of his lap time. I think we're kind of at that phase where everyone's backing off their laps, and we'll be preparing to go for it once again. Finn trying to get some heat into his medium tyres. I think the majority of the grid are on the medium tyre. In fact, the entirety of the grid has opted for medium tyre. Let's ride on board with Piero in the rundown towards the final, into Ascari, sorry. Let's have a look at his sector split, which will pop up any minute now. He's 10th and a half up, which will get him above Manuel, but it's not going to be good enough to get himself ahead of Finn unless he finds 5, 6 tenths, sorry, down the straight in towards Parabolica. Takes a nice line in the entry, goes nice and wide on exit. It's a short run up towards the line, but what lap time is it going to be for the Frenchman? Moves himself onto the front row of the grid with a 1 minute 20.6. But it's still a blistering lap time from Finn to be 6/10 clear of the rest of the field at a track like Monza, especially when you remove the first chicane, making it even less technical. You can see the cars flying through 122 plus miles per hour. Absolutely insane. Let's have a look at Chicane's sector split. He is only just improving on his time. I'm going to go onto the live timings just to see who's close to finishing the lap. It's a track map I need, so it's car number 3, 1 and 12. So it is Manuel and Finn going around the final corner. It just makes it easier to see who's going up to the line. 3 minutes left to go in qualifying. Can Manuel jump Piero in quali? Can he put it on pole? Yes, he can, and goes 500 clear of his teammate. These two absolutely on fire here tonight. They're 6/10 clear of the rest of the field and are working really well together to get that gap as high as possible. Play Duchy, he can only put in a lap time good enough for 3rd place. 3.5 tenths off Finn, 1 minute 20.4. What about Piero though, going around the final corner, 2.5 tenths behind his teammate? Can he improve on his lap? Improves, but goes 6 thousandths slower than Play Duchy. Chicane goes up into 5th place and it's a 10th and a half, a bit more than a 10th and a half off of Piero. 2 tenths clear of Bonnie behind. Hobster in 7th, marginally ahead of his teammate going around the final corner. Running a very nice livery. I have to say so myself. A really nice, what's the word? The change between the two colours. Really nice indeed. Tim, it goes up into 2nd place, and look at that, 4 hundredths off of Manuel, 100th quicker than Finn. These front three, you could split an iPhone in between that gap. fine margins. Finn crossing the lines to start what looks to be one of his possible final laps, and he will be given the toe behind Manuel. Interesting team tactics as a train forming at the exit of Ascari. Playducci improves, but it's only good enough for third place, and there goes Finn up into, ahead of his teammate. Ashton and Ted both improve, and it's the same team orders we've been seeing all qualifying session from those two. Piero around the final corner doesn't have a toe from anyone in front. Doesn't look like he's improving on this lap. There's a car park going into Parabolica. They're literally not moving, and hopefully this doesn't disrupt the laps of Tim, and I think that's Topster behind him. You can see the two identical or very similar liveries going down the back straight in towards the final corner. Looks like that train's going to get moving right behind Topster. Let's keep an eye on Tim and Topster though as they round the final corner. I think they've just caught. I don't think they've made the back of this train. There seems to be quite a bit of a gap between Topster and the cars behind. They're already tripping over themselves. But I think that's Bonnie and Tiger going wheel to wheel, or temporarily going wheel to wheel, as they've kind of misjudged it if they were to slipstream each other in towards turn one, because it's Tiger going down the inside and towards Kerber Grande. Interesting tactics as the timer clicks to under 10 seconds and Bon Evil has backed out of his lap. He will start no higher than 7th place as Tim's gone off at the exit of the first chicane, actually, because we removed turn 1 and 2. He won't be improving on his lap. Meanwhile, Finn and Manuel in first and third as things stand going through turn 1. Ted and Aston both improve, but it's only good enough for the back row of the grid in 12th and 13th place. Who's going around the final corner for the final times in qualifying? I'm doing my best to try and find them. One of them was Wolfie, the other one was Piero. Now it looks like Tobbs is going to be the next driver to set a lap time. He's ran a little bit wide on the exit of Ascari, so it doesn't look like he will be improving. It's the two BCMR boys behind him, and Toussaint and Tiger, but we'll keep an eye out on the German's time, just to see if he ends up improving from 8th place. He set a 1 minute 21 flat and is a second off pole position. Can he improve? Not quite. What about Toussaint? He doesn't improve. Does Tiger improve? Tiger doesn't improve, and he'll start in 10th place. What could be his worst qualifying of the season, his first qualifying in the league. Finn going around the final corner. Can he start higher than 3rd place, jump his teammate, or jump Finn up to the line? No, he can't. He's a 10th of his personal best, and Manuel has stopped at the exit of turn 2. Not sure what's gone on there, but as the clock ticks to finish qualifying, it is going to be Manuel on pole position on his return to the league, and it's got the Flying Finn Attingren close behind in second. Finn starts in 3rd place, ahead of Playducci in 4th, with Piero closely behind in 5th. Toussaint will start this race in 6th, ahead of Bon Evil and Topster in 7th and 8th. Wolfie will start in an impressive 9th, ahead of Tiger Assassin in 10th. The Scout Down will start in 11th, ahead of his team at Aston, and Ted will round out of the grid. Some facts about this track: it's 3.58 miles long, the longest straight being 1.239 kilometres. That's just the final corner in the rundown towards turn 1. Only 9 corners of this track, but we've got 41 laps here at Monza without the chicane. It's the old F1 cars that greet us to round number 3 here at Monza, but without the chicane. The 5 red lights will start to turn on here in Monza. You can see we've got 1 red light, and it's lights out, and away we go. Lots of wheel spin from the start. Manuel's off cleanly and quickly ahead of Tim, but it's actually a really good start from Tim on the inside. He's already up into the lead of the race. Meanwhile, they're 3 wide at the background. Toussaint in 7th place, almost going onto the grass. Looking back up the top, we've got Tim down the inside of Manuel, trying to hold it around the outside. Piero on the inside of Finn. Topster trying to get involved in the battles as well. Manuel to the inside, Piero on the inside. Who's going to be latest on the brakes? They all seem to make it through fairly cleanly. Tim riding over the curb. He might lose a position on exit. Piero up into 3rd place, Dutchy down to 5th. I think everyone has survived lap 1 Piero trying to look for a move possibly on Tim, looking towards in the background. Got Bon Evil trying to go down the inside of the Scout Dan. He's not had a good start, down into 9th place. Tiger up 2 positions in 8th, behind his teammate in 7th in the run down towards Ascari. There's a 4/10 advantage out in front with Toussaint going for a move on top. They're down the inside and towards Ascari. There's contact. Toussaint trying to go round the outside, so he has to go onto the gravel. Topster though, it may take some place. Someone's off. Who is that wide? I think that could have been Piero. We'll get a replay in a second when the action kind of dies down a little bit. Into the inside of Tim going into the final corner. Lots of weaving in the background. The German on the inside of the Finn in towards the final corner. Looks like he's got it done. I think that was I'm not sure who that was. I think it was Tiger Assassin's gone off somewhere. He's down into 12th place. Doesn't look like he's got damage. We'll get everything back up on the screen briefly, but let's have a look to see what happened with Toussaint and Topster quickly. Someone, I think that's Ted, running a little bit wide at the second Lesmo in towards Ascari now, running on board with Toussaint. He's on the outside. Does he get attacked from behind maybe? Topster looks to have arrived the curb, and I think someone went wide. It was Piero who ran wide. What happened to Tiger? Did he run wide? I can't even find Tiger. He's already down into 12th place. I'm not sure what happened there. We jump back up to the leaders as Finn and Manuel currently lead this race 1 and 2. Piero under lots of pressure from Bon Evil. Tiger's got his way up into 11th place and now has Ted in front of him in 10th, but he's all out of shape on the exit of the second Lesmo. Meanwhile, Ted and the Scout down and go wheel to wheel in the run down towards Ascari as Ted gets himself up into 9th place. It'll be a good finish for him if he can score some solid points for him and Wolfie. Everyone single file in the run down towards the final corner. Meanwhile, here goes Tiger Assassin looking for a move on the Scout. Dan pulls over to the inside. Can he get this one stick down the inside? It looks like it's going to be a simple move from the Brit. As we look back up to the leaders, Manuel already 1 second clear of his teammate, and he's pulling away from the rest of the field. Tim just out of the slipstream of Finn. Well, not in the most effective range, I think it's fair to say. He's got Dutchy a lot closer to him. Only 2/10 between those guys. Dutchy's got Piero right behind him. Is the 2 teammates going through turn 1 at 200 plus miles per hour. Bon Evil looking to try and send one to the inside, but that's Manuel. Finn off, and he's taken a few orange cones with him. He's lost the rear. He's in the barrier and he's got damage. And that is huge and unfortunate for the Germans. Now going to have to go all the way back round to the pit, and we'll drop down to the back of the grid. Let's get a replay. Did he get hit from behind? I don't think so. I think it looks like he just broke too late, and just gets on the power too soon, too early. And unfortunately for him, it sent him to the back of the grid. Dutchy around the outside of Tim into Ascari, moves his way up into 2nd place, and there's already a 2-second advantage that Manuel has been able to pull away. Meanwhile, Tiger getting ahead of Ted up into 8th place. He'll be looking to try and close down the 2.5 second gap to Wolfie, running in a brilliant 7th place. Already kind of in no man's land. 2 seconds ahead, 2 seconds behind are his margins. Dutchy's already pulled out an 8/10 gap to Tim, who's not going to be in the slipstream. Pierre's going to be putting under pressure, pulls over to the inside, down the straight, and gets already ahead into 3rd place. But knowing Tim is not going to give this one up without a fight. Look at the speed that he has in the slipstream. He's going to have Bon Evil closely behind him. He might send one down the inside, but he's got to be careful because Toussaint is right behind him. Can they slow it down in time going into the second chicane? Just using a little bit of the curbs, but no penalties, I don't think. Is Bonnie going to send one down the inside into the second Lesmo? That's going to compromise his run going into Ascari, but Tim running onto the curb is going to compromise his run. Toussaint's pulled alongside Bon Evil. He's going to pull alongside Tim now in the run down towards Ascari chicane. Bonnie's going to make this 3 wide. Toussaint just gets ahead of the 2, and Bon Evil tucks in behind. Not enough room to go for it on the inside. Tim running over the second curb, gets a little bit out of shape, riding on board and looking behind. You can see there is Bon Evil has to tuck in behind the slipstream, being left out to dry as Tim serving his penalty whilst behind Toussaint. Bon Evil's going to try and send one down the inside, but makes lots of contact with Toussaint. Now on the inside, Toussaint's going to try and go around the outside and towards on the exit of Parabolica, side by side now, down the start finish straight. in towards turn 1. It's a long run in towards turn 1. But Tim is looking feisty in the background of this. He's pulled up alongside Bon Evil. There's not quite enough room to go for it on the inside of Toussaint, but he might try and go round the outside for turn 1, which will become the inside for turn 2. Can he make it stick late on the brakes? Was it too late on the brakes? No, it wasn't. He slows it down in time. Couldn't quite get the move though. But this battling is allowing Wolfie and Tiger to catch up in this battle for third place. Play Dutchy has already closed down that gap to Manuel. 2 seconds has quickly become 1. Let's get a replay. A lap ago, and that incident right there, Bon Evil sending one into the side pod of Toussaint. Maybe the stewards might have a brief look at that, I'm not too sure. But it might just go down as a racing incident. In the end, don't think anyone's got damage. And that was someone wide. That is Tim wide. Or someone went wide. I think it was Bon Evil wide. In the wall and has got rear damage. Drops behind Tiger and Wolfie. Ted running a little bit onto the gravel there as well. Let's get the replay on board with the Brit. He's gone off into the gravel way too late on the brakes. And almost blocks Wolfie when coming back onto the track there. That could have ended in disaster for Wolfie, almost like a Lance Stroll situation. But meanwhile, Tiger on the back of Wolfie in the run down towards turn 1. For such long run down towards turn 1 that it is, it's a lot of bump drafting. Meanwhile, no bump drafting for 4th place, because here goes Tim trying to go for a move down the inside of Toussaint, but backs out of it in the end. Does Tiger send one on Wolfie? Not into turn 2, might try and wait for a better opportunity. Wolfie's ran wide over the curb, and I'm sure that'll be a 1 second time penalty. Only 5/10, so he's got away with it a little bit. The game being a little bit generous to the Irish driver. Meanwhile, I don't think Dutchy is going to be as generous in this hunt for first place. 2 seconds clear of his teammate Piero, but only 6/10 off the lead of the race. Manuel pulled out his advantage early on in the stint, as Tiger Assassin now goes down the inside of Wolfie, serving his 5/10 penalty. And it'll be a good result from Wolfie if he can keep within the slipstream of Tiger and tow him along for this race. Meanwhile, Ted 2 seconds behind Tobster, as I'm not sure what's happened to Dan, but he's full 20 seconds behind Aston. He might have made a pit stop. He has made a pit stop because he's onto the soft compound tyre. Not sure where the damage happened. Meanwhile, riding on board with Manuel, you can see a charging Dutchman in the background who might just be saving a little bit of his fuel whilst he sits behind the Austrian. Towing him along in this race might be a decent strat if he's to jump him in the pit stop. Tim's just dropped off a little bit from Toussaint. The gap now 5/10 of a second, and is purple through the first sector. The first sector, though, not really much of a sector. It's one corner with the removal of the first chicane. That gap out in front, though, is closing by the second. 3/10, 2/10. Why can't I change camera? I think someone went off. It was Wolfie who's made a mistake, as he's now dropped in 8th place. Let's get a replay to see what happened. Did he run wide on the second Lesmo? Did he run wide on the first Lesmo? He did, onto the gravel. There goes Tobster to the inside. I just want to keep watching this because I think someone might have made a mistake later. Oh, it was Ted running a little bit wide, but kept the car in one piece. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead is on, with Dutchy pulling over to the left-hand side of the track, down the start-finish straight in the run down towards turn 1, gets the move done, but it's not going to be dusted because Manuel is closely in pursuit, riding on board with the Austrian. It almost looked like a snap of oversteer mid-corner. You don't want to be having that at 226 miles per hour going into turn 2. Gets it slowed down in time and tucks in behind the Dutchman. And he is now the hunter. Pierre in the background gets a 5/10 penalty. Tim's dropped off the back of Toussaint. Ted gaining a little bit on his teammate, with Dan 1.8 seconds ahead of Bon Evil in 12th. All the drivers who picked up damage early on in this race have gone onto the soft compound of tyre. And the rules and regulations for this race is that the soft and medium tyres are two mandatory tyres. Meanwhile, or however I should say, the super softs, mediums and hards, all 4 compound of tyres are available to use at this race. Just keeping on my eye on the mini-map as well as this battle for the lead of the race. Dutchy leads the field on lap 9 out of 41, but he's got a closing Austrian behind him, number 49, trying to get ahead of car number 88 in the run down towards turn 1. Does he pull over early or not? He's going to tuck in behind for now. We can ride on board with Manuel because he's gaining in the slipstream, gaining so much that he's pulling over to the left-hand side, which will become the inside for turn 2. Dutchy, though, later on the brakes and gets it slowed down in time, maintains the lead of this race. Piero gaining on the battle as well, running in a solid 3rd place for the team. Toussaint 3.5 seconds behind of Piero, 2 seconds ahead of Tim. Tiger doing his best to close down his gap to Toussaint and try and get some points for Team BCR. BCMR in the Constructors' Championship, so as it stands, Dutchy and Piero will only be extending their advantage if it was to finish as it is, with both drivers in a solid 1-3 podium positions. As Ted's closed down, but actually I think that's Aston, closing down the gap to 10, getting ahead of the Irishman, who is now in 10th place. Still though, scoring some good points. It might not be as many points as it would have been last season, but that just makes points even more crucial this season. Manuel must have made a mistake somewhere, despite setting a personal best. I think Dutchy though was just really on it that lap. A 1 minute 20.2, and has pulled out a 1.5 second advantage to Manuel, and that could be race over. Not gonna lie, we've seen Dutchy just control these races from start to finish. Hopefully though, we see a nice battle for the lead. The gap's starting to open up throughout the field. As Piero 3 seconds behind the race leader. Tiger from 10th, he's gained 4 positions in the opening, from 10th to 6th, he's gained 4 positions on the opening 10 laps. Doing a solid job. 4 seconds behind Atom Green. He's 1.2 seconds clear of Topster behind. It's going to be interesting to see how Finn and Bonnie's actually into the pits again with a bumper damage. Not sure where he got the bumper damage from. Let's check if anyone's got rear damage. It doesn't look like it. Dan though has dropped behind Finn, so that just could be Finn really on the pace. Dan set a 1 minute 27 on the last lap. Was there an incident between Dan and Bon Evil, who's got damage on the exit of the pit lane? I could have sworn that Bonnie only had front bumper damage. Look, going into the pit lane, he's got front bumper damage. On the exit of the pit lane, he gets front left suspension damage. Unless he forgot to change the damage going into the pits, this race goes from bad to worse for Bon Evil and is about to be lapped, I believe. This could be the first time in Gavra racing history, I think, someone from the Group 8, someone's left. We've now already got 12 drivers in it. It's the Scout Dan who has disconnected from the lobby, meaning everyone will score points if they finish point, or however, if you're in 12th. But you can see there, riding on board with Play Dutchy, you can almost just about see Bon Evil's car going through a Ascari. Manuel doing his best to keep with the Dutchman, is improving on his personal best times. The Tiger Assassin's closing down that gap to Tim, but something to note will be rear tyre wear. These cars are very what's the word? I can't think of the word. They have a really loose rear end. They do lots of they have so much power. That's why they've got like 968 horsepower as Manuel pits from second place. He's doing a different strategy to everyone else because you can see the medium tyres aren't as worn, but he might be going for his traditional 2-stop strategy. I'm going to assume it's this red striped soft compound tyre going on to the black, grey and yellow car, the F1500T-A, the technical term for these beauties. And he's in, out of the pits, onto the softs, and it's a full tank of fuel. He's going to feed out. It's behind Where is he? He's down in 10th place behind Ted, and a notable gap, 31 seconds behind the race leader. Obviously that gap's going to get bigger as he goes down the start finish straight in towards turn 1 and 2, just because of the lack of the momentum from the pit lane. But Tiger now, that promotes Tiger up into 5th place, and that's a huge enough of oversteer on the exit of the second Lesmo, and the blue flags being waved for Bon Evil, currently running in last position. Takes a bit of inside curb, stays on the Astro too long, and that could have been an almighty accident had he not counter-steered. That could have been an absolute disaster for him. We've seen a few mistakes early on, notably, drivers in 11th place and below, as that's another slide from Ted. Well, I say another slide from Ted, another slide, from Ted. I think that's Ted's first kind of major mistake. Wasn't major though, but probably the biggest mistake he's made tonight. Running in a solid 9th place though, is on track to score his first points of the season. If he finishes this race, that is. Chicane and Ted both into the pits. Chicane now drops to 9th place, but comes out in a set of soft tyres and doesn't decide to put in fuel. So we'll come out closer to Manuel. Which is an interesting strategy call. He's closer to Manuel because he didn't put in as much fuel, if any fuel. So when he makes a second stop, he will have to put in more fuel, so a slower pit stop eventually. Which makes strategy so interesting. Bon Evil gets out of the way for Wolvie, making his way through the second Lesmo, 4 seconds behind Thompson, running in 5th place. That now promotes Tim onto the podium, with 5 seconds separating Team Interrogator, currently 1 and 2. These cars sound so beautiful that I think as the gaps are a little bit spread out, just going to check, there is a slight, no sorry, that's Bon Evil. Pierre's into the pits. Let's get this thing working on my controller briefly, just so we can do this. Let's get an onboard cockpit cam, no audio from Play Dutchy, because these cars are beautiful. As you're blinded by the sun going through the final corner. That is an onboard lap from Play Dutchy just before he comes into the pit. Someone slow, and it's Tim with engine damage. Has he got that through Ascari? We'll have to check the replay to see what happened to the Finnish driver running in 2nd place. He runs wide onto the ground, and that's a huge crash for Tim. He's backwards, sideways in the barrier in the middle of the track, and will drop a ton of positions. He's now down to 4th place, the top 3 into the pits. Aston, he's doing a solid job in 5th, hasn't come into the pits yet, but that's devastating for Tim. Dutchy's on super softs. Dutchy committing to a 2-stop. I think a 2-stop is the way to go, maybe even a 3-stop depending on how the fuel goes. But Play Dutchy doing something different, and he's going on to the super soft tyres. It's the mediums and the softs that are mandatory, but he's opted for a super soft set. Tiger on to soft. What about Topster and Tim? Are they going to go soft tyres? Tim's going to have a long pit stop with the damage. Tiger rejoins this race in 7th place as Dutchy's gone off. Dutchy's gone off! And another mistake being made this race, claiming many victims here at Monza. Let's have a look to see what happened to the Dutchman going through Curva Grande for the 15th time. He's late on the brakes. He's gone over the curb. And that is a huge mistake, and the game has reset him to the track, and that's unfortunately a glitch that peripherally still haven't patched in this game. I don't know if it is a glitch, but all drivers, if you're watching this in the lobby, you can go back and check the settings, because we definitely have cars reset the track off, and that is Piero almost being sent by Toussaint. There was a gap for a small margin, a brief second, and that firmly was slammed shut. Toussaint just letting Piero know he is there. Or I think that was maybe a move on Duccio, sorry. They both run in the same car. Forgive me. Two very nice cars. To be fair, all the cars on this grid are nice. Very nice indeed. But that mistake from Dutchy's now put Toussaint in the firing range, although Toussaint doesn't have as much fuel as the Dutchman. You can see the extra speed that he gets going in towards turn 1, 230 miles per hour in the slipstream, and he's closed down that gap significantly. He's gone purple through the first sector. Dutchy though on the super softs, he's going to get the advantage for the initial stint. The gap seems to be glitching out on the leaderboard. They keep saying drivers are overtaking each other. So I keep flicking to see where the battles are. But we've got the battle for second place. Dutchy just seems to have the edge on Toussaint through the corners where those super soft tyres are going to come into play. They are going to wear out slightly quicker though. Aston in 6th place hasn't made his pit stop yet. He's currently taken those medium 16 laps and he's using all the fuel. Team coming out in 10th place, 6.5 seconds behind Wolfie. As Ted in 11th place has gone onto the soft compound of tyres. Lap 17 out of 41, Manuel leads the field away. Clay Dutchy, after making that mistake, has cost him the lead of this race, but has set a new fastest lap to go with it, fighting back from going too deep into turn 2. Finn as well up into 5th place after he had front aero damage on the exit of turn 3, a mistake made in I think it was lap 4 roughly. Aston decided to stay out for another lap. Dutchy with a good run through turn 3. Maybe Manuel made a mistake, has actually picked up a 5/10 penalty though, so possible corner cut could be why the gaps come down so quickly. It's now 5/10 of a second going through the second Lesmo for the 17th time in this race. He's in the slipstream of the Austrian going in towards Ascari. Doesn't look like he's going to be close enough though to go for a move. He's gaining all the time though. Continues to go purple. This man is on fire. Uses more of the curb on the inside, which gives him a better run in towards the final corner. Such a good run from Play Dutchy with the aid of the slipstream. It's literally there's contact between the two, lots of wheel banging, and that does promote Dutchy though up into the lead of the race. And let's just double check to see if anyone moved across anyone. That was really weird. It looked like Dutchy broke, but I think it was just the nature of changing gears in these cars. I think Manuel tried to get back over into the slipstream. He's no longer there in the slipstream because he's gone down the inside and sprays Dutchy right in the face with a yellow fire show of sparks. As Dutchy's going to try and go around the outside. Has he broken too late? Manuel though gets the move done, back up into the lead of the race. Just an on board of Manuel getting that position. Beautiful stuff from the Austrian. It's not over yet though. Dutchy's hot on his heels going through the second Lesmo, almost pushing him through the corner, pulls over to the left hand side of the screen, right hand side of the track as Manuel defends the inside line going in towards Ascari. Can Dutchy be late on the brakes and do something around the outside? We can ride on board with him just to see how much of a different line he takes. You see how much curve he uses on the inside. Promotes him with such a good slingshot through the exit of Ascari, through turn 8, in towards turn 9. But he's not close enough to go for a move in towards Parabolica. And will save something in towards turn 1, 2 and 3. The best overtaking opportunities at this track are probably turn 1, 2, 7 and 9. There are only 9 corners that make up this 3.58 mile long track. Down the start finish straight we go once again. Look who's joining the fight, Mr. Tucson 0208. He's joining in on the front two, battling away. It's not doing Dutchy super softs any good. He goes for it down the inside and then lights up the track with sparks. Manuel's going to try and find a way through on the inside. Can he send one to the inside? No, not quite. Takes a lot of curve on the exit of turn 3. That's going to compromise his run through the chicane in towards the first Lesmo. Piero only 1.9 seconds behind. Finn gaining on this battle as well. In the next few laps we could have a 5-way fight for the lead, assuming Play Dutchy doesn't pull away, but he's not pulling away just yet. The gap opening up though to about 9/10 of a second. Chicane on fresh soft tyres with lower fuel is a good equation for speed and power, but look at that gap out in front, already 1.2 seconds. Those super softs, fresher super softs, seems to be working for Play Dutchy, but has got to pit for a set of softs, whereas Chicane might be able to go for a set of super softs when Dutchy's on the soft. We'll have to wait and see. Manuel's not going to have the slipstream of Play Dutchy in front. You can see the closing speed of Chicane going down the start finish straight and the run down towards turn 1. He has to tuck in behind for now, and will be greeted with a fire show of sparks. There it is. Chicane doesn't defend the inside line just yet. Finn's into the pits. Manuel, his teammate, gives Chicane a little bit of a nudge, more than a nudge. He has to take the escape road and gets reset to track way behind Piero, and that's hugely unfortunate. Manuel pulls over to the right hand side of the track to let Chicane go back through. Good sportsmanship from Manuel, but a costly mistake that's cost Chicane a lot of time. Well, both of them a lot of time, but fair play to Manuel for giving it up. But a little bit too ambitious, a little bit too late on the brakes going in towards turn 2. Chicane is now 3.7 seconds behind Piero. 3.9 seconds is the gap to the leader. Flicking through to see where the closest margins are. It looks like it is the battle for 9th place. It is the closest on-track battle. Chicane, I thought he was going to go into the pits there for a second there. Pulls over aggressively to the right hand side of the track to get the shortest run down towards turn 1 from the final corner. Tops at 2.9 seconds off Tiger Assassin, who's 16 seconds behind Manuel in this race. Has actually set a new personal best, 1 minute 20.7. He'll be trying his best to close down that gap as best he can. Halfway through the race, lap 21 of 41. And just to summarise things that have happened so far for any new viewers, Play Dutchy in the lead of this race. Mistake when coming out of the pit lane, dropped him down the order a little bit, but he's got his way back up into first position. Drivers such as Bon Evil, Finn and the Scout Dan being involved in incidents, giving them damage, individual incidents. Finn going off at turn 3, Bon Evil going off at Ascari, I think it was, and Tim going off at Ascari as well. We've seen some slight errors, some drivers getting onto the AstroTurf, running a little bit wider onto the gravel, costing them a couple of tenths. But most recently we had a slight collision between Chicane and Manuel, the Austrian tapping the back of the Brit, sending him off into the escape road at turn 2, but that reset him to track on the apex of turn 3. Manuel slowed down to let the Chicane go back through. Now they're running 3rd and 4th place, just 8 seconds off the leader. Hello and welcome to everyone joining in the chat. That gap out in front only continues to extend, with Dutchy consistently in the 1 minute 19s, Piero in the low minute 20s. Chicane's times are a little bit all over the place with the battling with Manuel. That gap between Manuel and Tiger still stabilising at 16 seconds. It doesn't look like any of these gaps are going down. What we saw from qualifying is they were so closely matched on pace, so as they've now separated, mainly due to the battling and the pit stops, the gaps have opened up quite a bit. Toussaint is into the pits. Refreshed set of boots. What tyres though is the question. I don't think the fuel's going to take him to the end. No, the fuel won't take him to the end unless he saves 3 laps of fuel, and I think these cars have 16 laps of fuel, so Toussaint could even be on a 3-stop. Where does he come out? It's going to be close between him and Tim, because Tim's going to have the straight line speed advantage going in towards turn 1. He's 1.6 seconds left behind, but look how much he's gaining on the Brit. Is he going to get this position? This is going to be so close between these two. They were battling in Suzuka. Looks like they're going to be battling again here in Monza. The gap now only 0.2 of a second between Tim and Toussaint. And well, just as I was saying, the gap started to open up. One quickly came down, primarily due to a pit stop. But Tim now in firing range of the season 1 champion. Winless in that season, but nevertheless kept it clean, kept it consistent, and picked up enough points to finish on the top of the standings. A little bit ghosting there as Tim serves his time penalty, but one ghost as he goes full throttle on the exit of Ascari and has to lift off there as he runs onto the gravel. That's not going to help his run in towards Parabolica. But there could be a third party joining this battle, with Wolfie only 1.6 seconds up the road, and it doesn't look like he'll be going into the pits this lap. Stays out another lap. That mistake has cost him a little bit of time. He's now 0.8 behind Toussaint. I don't think he's got the slipstream. He hasn't got the best of run through the final corner either. .3 seconds is now the gap. Toussaint gaining a lot on those fresh tyres on the back of Wolfie, and the run down towards turn 2. The gap out in front there is 5.5 seconds, but it's been a stunning show from Team Interrogator, currently 1 and 2 in this race. After Dutchy starting relatively low compared to his usual qualifying. But here goes Toussaint, now pulls over to the left-hand side of your screen, right-hand side of the track, in the run down towards Ascari, and gets the move done before the braking zone, and claims 6th place. He is, however, on an aggressive strategy. He could be on a 3-stop, because I don't think the fuel's going to make it to the end of the race. I can't quite remember how many laps of fuel these cars have, but I think it is 16. Wolfie now next to be overtaken by Tim. Defenceless in the run down towards turn 1, pulls over to the inside. Nothing Wolfie can really do about it, but he's going to tuck into the slipstream for the second phase of the straight. Get the extra speed he needs. Tim parks his car in the middle of the track to deny Wolfie off finding a way through. Gets up into 7th place. The gap out in front only getting bigger by the second. As Tiger Assassin's now promoted into 4th place. So interested to see if Toussaint's strategy will work, because he's got to pit again, but he's got to gain 8 seconds if he's to get back up into 4th place. It's going to be interesting. We've seen him close down gaps before at Suzuka, but this is Monza. Not exactly the same. There's quite a big difference between Suzuka and Monza no chicane. One of them by far being more technical than the other. If you're new to the stream and you're just tuning in, welcome from wherever you are watching in the world, whether you're watching this in Europe, Asia, America, Australia, Antarctica, Africa, wherever. Welcome. If this is your first time watching the GT Sport League here at Gavra Racing, then I highly recommend you head over to our YouTube channel, Gavra Racing, to watch the first 2 races of the season. Because Lago Maggiore, honestly, hands down, best race so far. So Suzuka was an absolute amazing race as well. For those who are unfamiliar with the format of the league for this season, for season 5 of the GT Sports Championship, we have a new car class every week. We started off in Super Formula, then headed to Group 4. We are now in the F1500s, which are the old F1 cars, or the equivalent of the old F1 cars here at Monza. Ted is about to be lapped by Chicane, who goes down the inside, and Ted actually running very wide off the track. He keeps it out of the gravel and out of the barrier, lets Tim go through as well. But yeah, next week we have a new special format rates. We've got 3 races lined up, one at Sardinia A, one at Sardinia B, and you guessed it, the final one at Sardinia C. All in Group 3, which should be interesting. The same car must be used across all 3 races, 20 minutes each. But you'll have to wait for next week to see that race. It should be an absolute thriller. Sardinia A always provides great racing, apologies. As there are actually a few cones in the middle of the track. On the exit of turn 3, hopefully it doesn't become too much of an issue. We can ride on board with Aston to see if they're on the racing line or not. I don't think they are, otherwise they would have been pushed over to one side. You can see there are a few cones. Manuel's into the pits from 3rd place. He probably could pit and put in enough fuel to go to the end of the race, currently running in 3rd place. And probably will go into another set of soft tyres, or maybe even a set of mediums. We'll have to wait and see. That pretty much ties up into 3rd place. Tobster is likely to get 4th, as Manuel still being held in the box. What about Tim? Tim could get ahead of Manuel here, but still obviously has to make a pit stop. Indeed he does. Manuel pits for a set of super soft tyres. That will be a stretch to the end. Where does he come out? He's going to be under pressure from Wolfie going in towards turn 1. Looks like Wolfie might have him here. The gap 9/10, and he's going to be closing as he gets into the slipstream. But is he going to be able to close? Is he going to be close enough to turn 1 into turn 2? The closing speed is so significant. An aggressive move over to the inside. Manuel though late on the brakes and those fresh super soft tyres. Wolfie rides over the curb. He has to settle in for 9th place for now. Did Manuel get a penalty? Wolfie get a penalty? Yes, he did. 0.5 of a second. Play Dutchies into the pits from the super softs. Piero follows him in from the soft, and will probably go to the alternate tyre. It's going to be super soft tyre. Sorry for Play Dutchy. Could be super softs for Piero. Tiger, I would guess, might stay out on a set of the worn softs, but I think he might follow the top 2 in. He's 24 seconds behind. He hasn't really got much to lose. Decides to stay out for another lap. What about Tobster? Does he pit? No, Tobster stays out. Tobster, this could be close between him and Play Dutchy. The gap is closing. He's ahead of Piero. What about Tim? It doesn't look like Tim's going to get Piero. What about Tobster though? Gaining on his old rival back in season 1. These two crashed in Suzuka, lap 1, turn 1. Tobster from pole position finished the lap, first lap in last place. This time though, he's running in 3rd behind Play Dutchy, but will probably pit at the end of this lap. Manuel's got damage. Manuel into the pits with front aero damage, and I'm not sure where he's picked that up from. But that is so unfortunate for Manuel. Was running in 3rd place. Now has to make another pit stop. And he's now down into 9th place with pretty much Tobster onto the pole. Making excitement. But I don't know where. I think Tobster could be in Piero pitted on the last lap, so Piero will be back onto the podium. Tiger could be on the podium at this rate. He'll be into the pits this lap. We'll just have to wait and see who crosses the line on lap 41. Tiger stays out for another lap. Might try and hold up Play Dutchy if he gets the chance to. Tobster's into the pits. Will drop him down the order, but Tim and Chicane pits. It's been an aggressive strategy from Chicane, but one that I don't think's worked out. He's tried the 3 or 4 stop in this race. I think it's a 3 stop. We'll have to wait and see where he finishes though. Tiger Assassin low on fuel, will be due for a pit stop. And on lap 30 out of 41, we've been going for almost 41 minutes here in round 3. Chicane drops into 7th, now 8th place. As Aston gets through up into 7th place, it's been a good showing from him. He may even get Topster as well, and the run down towards turn 1, indeed he will. But he's going to be vulnerable on the worn set of the super soft tyre. Tiger yet to pit from the lead of the race, has played Dutchy in pursuit behind. Well, I was mentioning earlier how the middle phases of these races tend to be a little bit dull, obviously due to the nature of the track and due to the different strategies, because there's such a vast variety of different strategic calls that the drivers can make, that it just opens up the field in the middle of the race. But now that we're towards the end, it's where the drivers kind of converging on each other. Here goes Topster trying to look for a move on Aston going in towards the Ascari chicane. Is able to serve his penalty in the process, riding on board with the Brit. It's a German close behind him, will be gaining in the slipstream. Tiger and Timmer both into the pits. That promotes Dutchy up into the lead of the race. Pierre in second, and it is Finn who is somehow back up on the podium. After getting damage on lap 1, Tim, with engine damage through Ascari after pitting, is in 5th place, but will drop far down the order as he is just leaving the pit lane behind this train. If he can gain a significant gap, he could be able to close down on this battle for 5th place. Aston, though, hasn't made a pit stop yet, and he's now under pressure from Topster and Chicane behind. Topster tries to fake the inside outside. I don't know where anyone is anymore. Topster and Aston, I think this is going towards. Chicane's been reset to track once again. Let's get a replay, because I had absolutely no idea what happened there. Let's go on board with Chicane. You can see Topster goes to the left, then right. I think wants to go back to the left. Then Chicane goes to take the escape road, but then gets reset to track. I don't know what it is with this game that just resets drivers to track when they go off. Aston now under pressure from Topster, who goes for it down the inside and towards Ascari. They're going to go wheel to wheel, but Topster going over the curve gets a little bit out of shape, loses time, and I'll prove to you in a minute that we do have reset to track off as the gap's just opened up slightly. I'm going to prove it to you now. We can view the event settings. Where is it? Reset to track, car reset to track. It should be here. Replace cars when they leave the track is definitely off. So no one can have a go at me for that one. The evidence is there. I don't know why it does it. I think other tracks certainly do it as well. Have that kind of feature. But Tobbs is still behind Aston for another lap. Someone's off. That is Ted on the exit of turn 3. Pulls over, gets out of the way of Aston, and Tobbs is going through. But that's an unfortunate mistake from Ted. But it is still running in P11 and ahead of Bon Evil, and he's gone off again at the second Levsmo. And if he just keeps it on track, keeps it going, he can get points. He can get an extra point than Bon Evil, but I don't know where Bon Evil is, irrespective to Ted, because the Delta doesn't apply for those drivers who have gone a lap down. So Ted can still get his first points of the season. Aston looking to try and score some good points, but might be into the pits at the end of this lap, has Topster gaining on him down the start-finish straight. I think Topster's just biding his time. He's being patient with this move. He doesn't want to risk anything, running in a solid 6th place. Aston, though, looks to be going into the pits this lap. Who knows? No, stays out for another one. He's going to try and put up this fight as long as he can, but I'm not sure how much longer he can sustain the pressure from Topster, who's pulled over to the inside, going into turn 1. Going past the old turn 1 into the new turn 1 of Kirby Grande, and gets to move down up into 5th place, 8 seconds behind Tiger Assassin. Meanwhile, that gap out in front, still 7.8 seconds, only increasing by the second. Chicane trying to close in on Topster after the slight bit of contact in towards turn 2. car number 27, trying to close in on the car in 6th place. Not sure what Aston's racing number is. I'm not sure if he's got it on his car or not. But 2 Saint gaining a reception. Is he going to go for this on the inside? Backs out of it! Hits the back of Aston, no damage, no one off into the gravel. I think Aston's tyres are just a little bit worn. I think 2 Saint's just got way more grip than Aston. There's so much more confidence under braking from 2 Saint. Hits the back of Aston, but no damage and no one off in the gravel. Surely Aston will be into the pits this lap, and he's done really well this race. He's in 6th place and he's on a completely different strategy to everyone else. I think he's on a 2-stop, taking the fuel as far as it can go, whereas everyone else has kind of done something different. Someone is off halfway down the straight, and it is Bon Evil with front bumper damage, and that is interesting. Not sure what's going on there. We'll just brush the bad driving aside. 2 Saint now under pressure from him, 9/10 of a second. Probably lost it at the exit of a Sky, to be honest. An easy mistake that's been made a few times this race. 7/10s now separating 2 Saint and Tim. As Finn is into the pits, that will promote Tiger onto the podium. And it'll be interesting to see if Tiger's enough fuel to go from the end. He started this race in 10th place, and he might just be doing something different, which could see him finish his race on the podium. A little bit helped slightly by the fact that Finn has crashed, and 2 Saint has crashed, and Manuel has crashed, and Tim has crashed, and Ted has a lot of people have crashed. Individual mistakes. These cars are really hard to control. Finn now, 2 Saints race swoops around the outside in towards Curva Grande. The overspeed from the start finish straight. Finn comes out of the pits in 4th place. He puts in fuel. No fresh tyres for the German to see out the final 7 laps of this race. That Strat has just got him just behind 2 Saint. Had he put on tyres, probably would have dropped him further behind the Brit, but Tiger Assassin now 1.2 seconds clear. If I said 2 Saint before, I do apologise. I'm thinking back to it. I think I did say 2 Saint. He's now in 7th place. Did he make a mistake? I think 2 Saint might have made the mistake. And yes, he got reset to track. No, he didn't. Yeah, he got reset to track once again. Just checked to see if he was streaming. He is streaming. He's now under pressure from Manuel, who's gone alongside. He's now ahead of 2 Saint, who was going wheel to wheel with Tim, forced onto the grass, similarly to Charles Leclerc when battling with Lewis Hamilton, and went off to take the escape road, but once again got reset to the track. The evidence is on stream, ladies and gentlemen. Reset cars to track is off. It's just a thing that happens at Monza, and it's a race that's going from bad to worse for 2 Saint. He's still going to give his fighting spirits, not going to give this position up, fighting for 7th place, what could have been so much more. But here goes Manuel aggressively sending one back down the inside. He slows it down in time. Actually a rather nice move from the Austrian. Gets it back up into 7th place. Going to go wheel to wheel now in the run down towards Ascari. 2 Saint on the inside, later on the brakes, gets the move done. There's a little bit of ghosting though as Manuel serving his time penalty for him. He'll want a good run through Ascari, but he runs wide onto the gravel. That's compromised his run, but with the aid of the slipstream, he's going to be able to close down the gap back to about 3/2 of a second, and that was a that was a heart in your mouth moment for Manuel. Almost careered into the back of the Brit. Meanwhile, Duchy rounds the final corner to start lap 38 of 41, in what has been a very dominant display, which he does like to do from now and then. This man, Tiger Assassin, it's been an absolute phenomenal drive from start to finish. He's running in 3rd place after starting in 10th. But it has got Finn on a very worn set of soft tyres. Maybe it would have been worth to take the time to change the tyres. But you never know. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, as many of those people say. If I hadn't made that mistake, I would have been up there. But mistakes were made, I believe. Obviously, you can say, if I hadn't made that mistake, I could have won the race. But at the end of the day, you did make the mistake. And that's just the way things were. That was just the way things were meant to be, unfortunately. And it's something that happens in racing. Hello to those who have tuned in from the start, and welcome any new viewers that have joined us along the way. It's not been the race that I thought it would be, to be honest. I did think deep down it would be a lot closer than it was. For those who anyone saw the Nations Cup, they've done the exact same combo, and it was an absolute sight of beauty. Someone has gone off yellow flags in front. Who is this? I can't quite see the names. They're not showing over the username. Who's gone off? It's Bon Evil who's off again, and I think it's fair to say it's one of those races to forget. For Bon Evil, mistake after mistake after mistake, has only completed 35 racing laps here at Monza. Piero Play-Ducci are on 39. 4 laps down. Ouch. Ouch indeed. Tobster and Tim starting lap 39 with 3 laps to go in this race. These are the closest two on track. They might have a little bit of a battle for 5th place. They are going to have a battle for 5th place. They're going to go wheel to wheel through Curva Grande. Tim on the inside, Tobster tucks in behind. Tim actually purple through the first sector, might try and take an extra point away from Play-Ducci. It's 18.8, currently the fastest lap of the race. Play-Ducci starts the penultimate lap of the race, 10 seconds clear of his teammates. I think, ladies and gentlemen, we've reached a bit of a lull here in Monza. There you go, I've said it. The word that was famously cursed by the driver in 7th. I got to know it well when commentating with him in the Premier and Freshman Leagues for 2 consecutive seasons. And it is quite a powerful word, so expect there to be a big crash somewhere within the field. Might even be Play-Ducci who makes the mistake. Was this lap from Tim quick enough though to set a new fastest lap of the race and gain him an extra point in the Drivers' Championship? No. It was a good attempt. It was only 3/10 off Play-Ducci's time and starts the penultimate lap of the race. The lull hasn't made its effect just yet. The world record for the quickest lull was at Brazil in the Premier Series. 2 seconds said it and I went, oh no. And then immediately, 8 seconds after he said it, no, we had a safety car. Play-Ducci though starts the final lap of the race. I'm just going to quickly flick through to see if there are any on-track close battles. There aren't any, so let's get on board with your championship leader. Let's actually get a nice cockpit cam view from Play-Ducci in the run down towards the flat-out turn while we remove the first chicane, meaning that Curva Grande is the new turn 1, a completely flat-out corner taken at 225 miles per hour, heavy braking zone at around 150 metre broad, taking as much of the orange curves as you can on the inside of turn 2 and 3, keeping it in 2nd or 3rd gear I think for the first Lesmo, running wide into the extra turn. Ducci's off, and that's the lull. There is a lull for Play-Ducci. He's off into the wall. Here goes his teammate. His teammate's going to go through, and Aston's gone off. I think that was Aston going off at the second. Lesmo's play Dutchy, spins, but on the final lap, has he got enough left in it? We're going through some on-board lap. The lull has worked, but how powerful is it going to be? There's only 2 corners to go. The gap out in front, closing all the time. 2 seconds. I think he's got it though. I think he might have it. The gap is coming down so quickly. Piero's eyes probably lit under that helmet, but going around the final corner, just surviving this race. Is he going to win? It looks like he's going to win for the 3rd time in a row. Play Dutchy wins here in Monza. 3 tenths ahead of his teammate. Wow. Wow, indeed! Someone's rejoined dangerously on the track. I'm not sure who that was. Almost collected Tiger Assassin, who looks to finish this race in 3rd place. I think that's Ted off after Scary, letting these guys go through. Stewards might have a look at that entry from Ted. Finn's almost running out of fuel. But Tiger Assassin from 10th place on the grid. He's gained 7 positions in this race. My driver of the day finishes in 3rd place, and it's another podium to add to the collection. Finn finishing shy off in 4th place, with Tim in 5th ahead of his teammate Topster in 6th. A day probably to forget for Toussaint, finishing in 7th place, scoring some points for the team, with just getting ahead of Manuel, but with 3 reset to tracks. No penalty for Toussaint, obviously, because he has the automatic from the game, so it won't be disqualified. Hugely unfortunate for him. Wolfie will score more points for the team, finishing ahead of Aston as Ted rounds the final corner up to the line, 4 minutes off the leader, but will score his first points of the season. Bonneville 4 laps down in the end. Oh my word, what a race, what an absolute stunning end to that race. Play Dutchy picks up another win this season. Piero on the podium ahead of Tiger Assassin in 3rd. Those are your top 3 for round number 3. Finn finishes his race in 4th place, with Tim in 5th. A great recovery drive from those two after getting damage early on in the race. Topster just behind his teammate in 6th, ahead of Toussaint in 7th. Manuel in 8th, finishing ahead of Wolfie in 9th. Aston a lap down in the end, with an interesting incident with Play Dutchy at the second Lesmo. Ted scores his first points of the season in 11th place, and Bonneville 4 laps down in 12th. Dutchy with the fastest lap will pick up an extra point, but I'm just going to prove to everyone once again: replace cars when they leave the track is off. Everything is off that we usually use. No ghosting. Everything is off. But that is going to bring an end to round 3. Join us next week, where we're going to have 3 races: Sardinia C, B and A in Group 3. Join us next week, same time, same place. The same amazing championship. Can anyone stop this Dutch driver from winning another race? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. I've been XNAG. Goodbye.